the base tour. Now, this base is located right here on the map, 37.2, 44.5, and it's at the Ebling Plateaus. And I have modeled this base, well, except for those parts down there, because, yeah, those were just needed for foundation. But the rest of this is modeled based on the house that I grew up in. And yeah, it's just so super cool. And I showed it to my parents. I sent this video to them early and they loved it. Well, I sent some screenshots of it to them early and they loved it. So anyway, I'm going to start by explaining why is there a deathly drop right here. Well, this is meant to represent the garage. And the reason there is a drop-off is because in the house that I grew up in, there actually was a drop-off to the side of it, of the garage, that is. When you're pulling in the driveway, there's about a 3.5 to 4 foot drop. So if your car goes off, then bam, it's going to flip right over. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, that is pretty much the garage. There's nothing in here currently except access to the attic, which we will explore in a minute. I do have light. And there is a window that looks out from the garage to the front yard. Normally this is grassy, but we do have trees. We did have trees in the front yard of the house I grew up in. But it was not all adobe, it was grass, and I made this out of adobe because I honestly thought adobe looks pretty cool. But no, our house was not made out of adobe, it was a brick house. So then you come in here. This would have been our utility room. In my actual house, I hate that one. See, I'm in GCM, so rifle. I don't need it to be loaded, but hey, whatever. This is where the washer and dryer was going to be, or would have been. Back here would have been the utilities, so the gas and electricity and all that stuff. We would have had our trash can back here as well. And then you walk out the utility room and you come straight into the kitchen. Now, the kitchen, I couldn't put in a sink. I could have put in a water tap to represent a sink, but I chose not to. But my mom at the house, she always had she had a little window pane like this with plants in it, and I was like, yeah, I have to do that for my mom, and she loved it when I showed this to her. She's like, oh, it brings back so many memories of the old place. Yeah, and then this right here is meant to represent the oven. The oven was more along here, but it just wouldn't align right, and it would obstruct this, so I decided to put it here. But it's meant to represent like the oven, where the oven was, not that, but also the coffee maker, because we had our coffee maker here. We also, here, let me close these doors. Close those doors. We had an island in the kitchen, so this is meant to represent the island and the stove in a way. And then of course we had our fridge. This is where we also had our medicine cabinet as well, as our plates and everything. Kitchen table with the overhanging light. Of course, the kitchen wasn't this tall. But yeah, it was nice. And you have your window. And then we'll go through here in a minute. But yeah, and then this is where we would have these storage boxes represent a little storage area we had for cabinets. And then this right here is the back porch, but we'll explore that more in a minute. But yeah, I built the back porch. There's the window. But now for here. So we had shutter doors in two parts of the house. Between the kitchen and the living room, and then the living room and the hallway. But first, this is what it would have looked like walking in. You know, we had a window here, this was our front door, and then this was our other window. And this was our front porch light. We always had a welcome mat and another one in front. So that's pretty much that. This is the dining room. Obviously, it's meant to be one long table connected, not two separate tables. But I did my best. These chairs right here are meant to represent a large couch. These two are meant to represent a love seat. This one is a recliner. And then this one, we can actually get rid of. Because, like, that was an old recliner, but then I forgot, like, oh yeah, I totally forgot we managed to sell that thing before we moved. So, yeah, so this is basically what it looked like. Where the artifacts are, this is to represent where the TV would have been. This Alpha Rex trophy would have been a lamp. Or not a lamp, a table. Then, of course, there's a lamp here. Of course, our fireplace. And then, I meant to put a Nunatech trophy up there, but I forgot to. Oops. But I have a Rex skull and a Wyvern skull. And then I put this up here. There's nothing really here in the living room. I put it up there because it looked cool. But yeah, then you look out here and you have a nice view. And then you can open these doors to get on the back porch. You couldn't do that in the old house because it was fixed. So where you couldn't open the doors anymore. But I decided to make them openable. Is that even a word? Accessible in this. So yeah. But yeah, now down here is the hallway, and my mom always put up pictures. You can't really put up pictures, so I put up trophies that you can get. But yeah, so anyway, when you're coming down the hall here, let me get the light. You could go to your left or to your right. To the left is the master room. And this is meant to symbolize where my parents' bed was. This storage box was a wardrobe they had. They had another wardrobe over here. And then right about here is where they had the TV. And then this here was the bathroom. And then this was my mom's closet. This would have been where the standing shower would have been. And then, of course, this was my father's closet with access to the attic as well. And then, of course, your pooper, because you always have to have a pooper. And I'm not going to show the attic just yet because it is not accurate. I'm just showing the parts of the house that are. This would have been my bathroom / the guest bathroom. Where this rug is, that's where the shower would have been. It was a curtain shower. This was the front guest room. which when I was a little kid, my grandmother was still alive. We called it Grandma's room. Yeah, we always called it Grandma's room because whenever she was here, this is the room she'd stay in. There was no TV, but there was a mirror, and she loved the mirror. And then there were some paintings that were hanging up in here. And then this was a small closet for the room. Now, this is what used to be my room. Yep, this is the room that I lived in for so long. And I miss it. I miss it so much. But, yeah, this is where my bed was. This is where my TV was. I also had a wardrobe there. I didn't put up a storage box to represent it. And then, of course, I had a closet right here. But, yeah, so that was my room. And this right here is what my parents nicknamed the John Wayne room, because my dad had pictures, like these antique plates, actually. Pictures and antique plates of John Wayne all over the room. From the top of the room to the bottom of the room. He even had a life-size cutout in the corner. But yeah, back here we had a futon that folded down. And then, you know, we had some bookshelves in the room. And then these are meant to represent the windows in the room. And then this was my temporary office where I do all my homework and schoolwork and everything. And then, of course, there is a storage closet in here. So, yeah. Oh my gosh, bring back so many memories. This isn't even my actual house, and it's bringing back memories of my house. Anyway, back to the attic. So, this is where the inaccuracy starts. Because this is not how the attic is shaped. And there is no power or anything up here in the attic. I just put generators up here because everything below needed to be powered. All the lights and everything below need to be powered, so I had to put a generator up here. We never put anything up in our attic. Our attic was never this big, but I had to make it bigger to make it work. And then I turned it into a bit of a storage area, as you can tell, and then bam, we're in the garage again. So that's essentially the story of the attic. Now, we're going to go on the back porch. Like I mentioned, those were fixed, so they shouldn't be able to ever be opened. It should just be the back door that was the only thing that could be opened. We have some plants out here, some chairs, some more plants. And then our backyard, what you would do, you wouldn't go down this number of stairs, and it would not be, you would not be going down this far. But you would go down a bunch of stairs into the backyard. Not this many, again, not this many. But you would have to go all the way down some stairs, and they would not twist and turn. And then you would be in our grassy backyard. But again, I decided to put up a greenhouse for some functionality. So I don't have any crops going yet, but I will. And then this will be like a little bonus add-on over here I was thinking of doing. So, yeah, this has nothing to do with like my actual house. My actual house is this thing right here. Yeah. This was the house I was born in. Well, I wasn't born in the house, but yeah, this is the house I was raised in, or at least what it would look like if it were an ark. So, yeah. Kind of feel like I'm back in it at times. This little place. And then, oh yeah, our front door closet, coat rack and everything. But yeah, that's the base showcase for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Enjoy getting an idea of what the house I grew up in looked like. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.